morning, class 3. So welcome to the Information and Communication Technology, which is ICT's lesson. And in ICT, today we are going to talk about a new term, and that is flow chart. Yes. Now before I start this lesson, let's quickly recall few of the terms which we have already done in the past. So who's the person who gives instructions to the computer? Yes, a computer programmer. Very good. What are the set of instructions called? Algorithm. Very nice. And to put the instructions in proper order is called sequencing. Beautiful. When the instructions are repeated again and again till the time there's another instruction given to stop it, what is that called? Looping. Very good. And what happens when a computer programmer finds some errors in the program? What does he do? Yes, he corrects, he fixes them, and this is called debugging. Very good. And when the instructions are very complex for the computer to understand, okay, very complicated instructions are there, then what do computer programmers do? They break down those instructions, and what is that called? What is the term for that? Decomposition. Very nice. Good. So we have done all these terms in the past, and today we are going to talk about a new term, which is flowchart. Okay, so what is a flowchart? Let's try to understand. Right, this is also something on which computer programmers work. Okay, this is used by the computer programmers while giving instructions to the computer. All right, so what is a flowchart? It is a diagram that represents a set of instructions. All right, so a diagram. What's a diagram? Yes, come on, tell me. Yes, a drawing to show that something is working. Okay, which represents a set of instructions. What is the term used for a set of instructions? Algorithm. Yes, so that means when algorithms are written in a form of a diagram, that's called a flowchart. All right, and flowcharts normally uses standard symbols. So a flowchart normally uses standard symbols. And what are these symbols? Okay, symbols to represent different types of instructions. Okay, so in a flowchart there are different shapes and symbols which are used, and these shapes and symbols, they represent different instructions. Okay, so did we understand what is a flowchart now? Yes, it is the instructions, okay, but those instructions are written in a form of a diagram within the boxes. All right, so let's see what are the shapes which are used while making a flow chart. So these are the shapes, and this is the symbol which is used while drawing a flow chart. Let's quickly have a look. This shape represents the start or end. So it is in the beginning and at the end of the instructions. Okay, so whenever you start writing instructions in a flow chart, or whenever you draw a flow chart, this is the first symbol which is used. All right, there's an arrow here, and this arrow tells us about the sequence, the flow of sequence, or the direction of process. Okay, as in what is the next sequence. All right, what has to be done next is represented by this arrow. Okay, that's a rectangular box here, and whatever is written inside this box tells us the process or the instructions. As in whatever is written here in the box tells us the process, or whatever the action is taken, or the instructions. Okay, so the instructions are written here inside these boxes, or such boxes, And the last one is a rhombus. See, that's a shape of a rhombus. That's a decision point. There are times when computer programmers they have to give instructions to the computer where the computer needs to decide. Say for example, if they give the instructions like, if somebody presses blue button, do this. Somebody presses white button, do this. Okay, so that's a decision making. That's called branching in computer coding language. Okay, so this is a box which generally is for the questions, whether yes or no. Okay, if yes, do this. If no, do this. That's called a decision point or a decision box. All right, so these are few of the basic shapes which are used while drawing a flow chart. There are many other shapes as well, children, but as I said, we are going to talk about these few basic shapes. All right, now just look at these shapes, and who can tell me whether these are 2D or 3D shapes? Come on quickly. Here, are they 2D or 3D? Yes, these all are 2D shapes. Very correct. Yes, good. Now, let us look at a flow chart which I have prepared for you. All right, and we'll get a better understanding of these symbols. Here is a flow chart on how to boil rice. Okay, so let's see. The first one, let's compare these shapes as well. So I'll keep this here. Okay, that's the first symbol, and here's the first one, start. Okay, fill in a pan with water. So I told you that within this rectangular box we write all the instructions, we write the process, as in what to do, actions. Okay, so see, fill in a pan with water. That's an instruction or an action. Then if you could see this arrow, this is an arrow which tells you about the next step. Heat the pan on a stove. So now after filling a pan with water, you have to heat that pan on a stove. Alright, again, because it's an action, it's an instruction which is to be followed, so it's written within this rectangular box. Now the arrow is here, and see, there's a decision point here. Okay, now why is it a decision point? Because there is a question here. Is the water boiling? And there could be two answers to it, yes or no. So if the answer is yes, add rice. If the answer is no, then go back and heat the pan on a stove. Do you understand that? So it is called branching or decision, wherein you are telling the computer that if the water is boiling, then add rice. If it is not boiling, then heat the pan on a stove. Alright, so this is the decision point, this rhombus. Okay, that's called the decision box or decision point. Then again, the person will follow the same process, and now of course the water will be boiling, I'm sure. Add rice. Then next is cook for 15 minutes. Next step is serve rice, and that's the end. Alright, so this is a flow chart which tells us how to boil rice. Alright, see, all the symbols which I had spoken about, these are the symbols I've used here. Okay, so what's a flow chart, children? It is a diagram that represents algorithm. So algorithms are written in a form within the boxes in a form of a diagram, and that's called a flow chart. Okay, yes, all right, and these are few of the boxes which we use in flowchart. There are many more to it, but we'll be talking about these few basic shapes. All right, okay, now your assignment time. So in your ICT, children, I would like you to make a simple flow chart using these three shapes, which is the start and the end terminal, the rectangular box, and the arrows. Don't use this right now, okay? Don't use this. So I want you to make a very simple flow chart on how is lemonade made, okay? All right, so you can make a flow chart on how is lemonade made because you already have written instructions. You have written algorithm on the same in your ICT notebook. That was the task I gave you last week. So the same instructions can be written within the boxes in a form of a flow chart. That is your assignment for this week. Please complete that assignment by next Wednesday in your ICT notebook. The heading will be flow charts. All right, don't forget to put the date. The heading will be flow charts. All right then, thank you so much, children. Bye.